Since our last Lunch and Learn, we have decided to continue for another dashboard session. A lot of the dashboard currently available, we believe, are quite underutilized. So therefore, I'm hoping to go through 3 of the most useful dashboards and give you some of the good use case examples. So the dashboards I'll be going through with you today are the live dashboards. The second one is the ethics dashboard, and the third one and the final one is the site dashboard. So I think probably first of all, I'd like to take you through our live dashboard. I'd like to get the basics out of the way. So for each of the dashboards, there are out-of-the-box functionalities that are always made available to you for you to use. It doesn't matter which dashboard you're using. So for example, the top right-hand corner, the cog wheel, it's an admin function. I know you can see it, and you can also click on it as well, but due to the permission issues, you won't be able to make use of it. So next one down, as you can see, is the what we call the refresh button. So 95% out of the time, you should not need to use this refresh button. But however, there's a small chance when the server is really busy, you may experience a timeout. So refreshing by clicking on that button will help. The button next to that is the export button. You have the option to export as a PDF, as an image, or a CSV. Normally, CSV is the most common. However, whatever takes your fancy, to be honest. When you export using this button, it will export everything. And I mean everything from this dashboard, separated by different groups into different worksheets. So let me show you, let me download it and give you a sneak peek. I'm sure a lot of you would have used this export function before, but for the benefit of those who is yet to use the dashboard properly, I'm gonna give you a preview of what the overall, shall we say, the export function looks like when you click on it. Okay, let me bring it to the screen here. Okay, so as you can see, by clicking on the top right-hand corner export button, will export everything separated by worksheet. So for each of the widgets, for each filter, data grid, bar chart that you may see on your screen right now, when you export this into a CSV, you get different worksheets separated from each widget. So if you want to export everything, that's fine. If you want to continue to work using CSV, using Excel, you know a bit of the formulas yourself, you can certainly do that. No one's stopping you. But the common use case would be have all your filters selected, have all your criterias that you desire, that you wish to see before you click on the export button. And usually people will click on the individual export button from the widgets, but I'll show you in a moment. Like I said, there are similar buttons from each widget. So each of these sections here, so these are all called widgets. So for each widget, you also get the basic functionalities as well. So as you can see, there is an export button that only exports individual sort of information from this widget. There's so right next to that is called what we call the multi-select. You are able to select multiple. So for example, this is a bar chart. You can select multiple bar charts at once. And the last button here, as it says, is maximize. So when you click on it, it will full screen your widget, so that it makes it easier for you to look at that particular widget or data that you're looking at. Okay, so right, with that out of the way, let's get down to business. So the live dashboard can be partitioned into 3 sections. So the first are the filters right here at the top. These are filters. So in the middle, it's your colorful bar chart on the left-hand side and the data grid on the right. And at the bottom of your dashboard, they are what I called a reminder widgets. So I'll be going through each of the sections with you. With the live dashboard, as you may have guessed, this is for managing all your existing pre-approved, pre-authorized applications. So all the applications are available. So both ethics and sites, they are all available at once within this single dashboard. So when do I use them? You may ask, and I'll probably give you the answer would be plenty. For example, let's say you get asked to pull a list of applications that are greater than low risk. Probably, what I should, in the status of completed pending hold, study type of health research, and collaborative group as a sponsor. So as you can see, when you click on each filter or bar chart or select an option on within the dashboard, the data grid or any widgets that has sort of information in them will change, will reflect based on your selection. So a typical use case would be I really need to put a report based on these different criterias for any applications of you're currently managing that are sort of in the pre-approved or pre-authorized state. You can make all your selections. If you don't need to export them, that's fine. You can interact with the dashboard. But otherwise, the typical use case would be, right, okay, I've made all my selections now, and this is the list of applications that are of concern, and I need a list of them so that I can proceed to the next step or give it to someone else to work on and proceed to the next step. So what you would then do usually is to export that into a CSV file, and then you can do whatever you want or whatever you need with the data that you have exported. So that'll be a very typical sort of case that you can do. That you can do. So once you have finished, in order to sort of reset all the filters or selections back to the original state, what you do is you look for the filter icon with the little red cross just right next to it. So by clicking on it, you reset that particular widget. So let me go ahead and reset them now, so that it goes back to the original state. So using the filters, it's quite a powerful way to narrow down multiple criteria for a report. But however, from my perspective, the filters can work as well for when you are trying to clean up your data. So what do I do? What questions should I be asking myself, and how shall I select all the different options in a dashboard so that I'm effectively, when I'm trying to clean up data, that's the what's the easiest way to identify these problematic records. So I'll give you a list of sort of questions or concerns that you should be asking yourself. So for example, are there applications without a review pathway, or are there multiple review pathways? So for example, because of my permission, I can see everything. I can obviously see when I click on the review pathway, the top option is empty. So what that means is I have a few of the applications within the application list I can see within this dashboard that is actually missing the ethics pathway, which is a mandatory classification. So that's an obvious sort of red flag that you can look out for. So the next thing that I can see, it's some application actually has multiple ethics pathways, which is incorrect. So if you do spot things like this, I would click on them. I'm not going to do it now because I don't want to put anyone on the spot. If you click on them, the data grid is going to change, and you'll be able to click on this application sort of reference URL, which is hyperlinked. So if you click on it, it takes you straight to that particular application, so that you can quickly, go management, classification, and add, remove as appropriate, depending on, how you want to deal with them. So that's one way. So that's one of the filters you should be looking out for. Probably the second question that you can be asking yourself is, are there any applications with statuses that can be updated to a more appropriate status? So, for example, I'm sure you are all familiar with these statuses here. But the ones that you can further investigate, for example, the suspended, terminated, the withdrawn statuses, are they actually in the correct status? Are there anything else that needs to be done? You don't have to, but if if your research office does have operational sort of guide document, you can certainly use these filters to identify these applications with these statuses and see whether there are further actions that needs to be taken. So the next one you could be looking out for would be, are there any empty category of research missing? Are there, oh, there's this one. Are there multiple category of research? Are they correct? Do I need to do anything with them? So looking at problematics of category research will ensure your applications have the correct classifications within them as well. So the next one would be, are there any sort of empty multi-study types or sponsor type? As you know, and we have mentioned this on multiple occasions, the ethics pathway, so the review pathway, the study type, the sponsor type, they're all mandatory sort of classifications, and each of the applications should have them. So if you see anything that's empty, and I can see one or two right now, these are the applications that you should be sort of selecting, go into the application and see what the actual sort of study type, or there's one missing under the sponsor type as well, whether what is the correct study type or sponsor type, add them so that they are reflecting sort of the correct classifications for your applications. Are there any clinical trial phase that you think should not exist? So by just simply clicking on every single one of these, are there applications that are of clinical trials that doesn't have a clinical trial phase? Is it correct? Is it missing? So that you can decide whether you want to take the next step or perform any actions against them. So there's NMA. There's some empty fields, so there might be an issue, they might not. So what I would urge you to do is to have a look at them. So these are sort of the few examples of using the filters. Other than pulling the report, is a great way for you to manage and spot sort of what we call the outliers. So applications that obviously needs attention. This is probably a very good and effective way of identifying them. The second part of the dashboard, of the live dashboard, is the as you can see on the left hand side, in the middle, the colorful bar chart on your left, and the data grid on your right. So these are inseparable, since if you select the bar chart, the data grid will change. this bar chart allows you to quickly inspect applications of a particular status. So let me select the information requested status for you. Okay, so as you can see, once that is selected, on the right-hand side, the data grid has changed, reflecting I'm only looking at information requested status. So every single application on the right here, they're of that particular status. So that if you have a project or a task that you need to work on based on a particular status, that would be a very effective way of using the bar chart. So the next thing what you can do with the bar chart is, as I mentioned at the beginning of the session, there is a button up top from the bar chart widget. It's called the multi-select. So if you want to select multiple statuses at the same time, what you need to first click on is the multi-select button. As you can see, this is now highlighted, so you can go ahead and select multiple statuses at the same time, so that the grid on the right hand side will reflect based on what you have selected on the left. So this is a great way to inspect a filtered list of applications based on the statuses that you wish to investigate further. So there are multiple statuses that you see on the screen right now, but don't worry if you don't see a particular status when you go into live dashboards. It only means that the applications that you're currently managing, they are not in those statuses. So if it so happens that all of the applications that you're currently managing have all of these statuses, great, but most of the time you will be at least missing half of these that you're seeing on the screen right now. So on the right hand side, as you can see, once you have clicked on a certain statuses or a single bar chart from bar chart, there are different columns that are being presented to you. So how I would use this particular data grid is usually I would sort them by using the days in status. So the days in status, since the other columns are quite self-explanatory. So the state and status, it was like relatively new, a data point that we've added just last year, and the days remaining in the last column. So the days in status is a status that that is trying to show you or indicate how many days since the last status was changed. So by reading this number, if it's a really, really large number, then something is obviously wrong. You can, by clicking on the application reference number on the left hand side, you can then decide what should I be doing next. And the very last column over here, the days remaining, it just basically telling you the benchmark figure, how far or how many days have I got before it reaches the benchmark figures. So for ethics and sites. So what you might have noticed, there are this particular column is color coded. So this is what we call the traffic lights. So the definition is being explained by the widget title here. So the application by status days remaining. So for these particular traffic, for ethics and for the STE traffic, for the traffic lights. So these are the figures, and based on how many days is left, it shows you a different color. So another useful way to use the data grid. If you spend the time to clean up your applications by using, the two columns I've just mentioned, the days in status and the days remaining, or any other unusual statuses that you okay, I don't remember this status being a valid status, within our sort of research office operational guideline, go ahead, investigate them, and once they're all cleaned up, I know it's gonna take a bit of time, but you'll have a clean dashboard where only relevant applications are visible to you. So there are other few useful sort of numbers that you can look at. For example, the total ETH. So these are the new benchmark figures, if you like. The total SDE, the submission to approval or authorization. So these are the previous sort of benchmark where all these figures are being separated. So you can, depending on what you need for your report or for what you need to do, looking at these different figures here will certainly assist you to identify whether there are currently any issues that you need to take actions. But the actions I usually sort of advise RGO to do, or even research managers, would be to use a sorting function. So not sure if everyone's aware. So if you click on the column header, you can sort that particular column by ascending, descending. So for example, if I sort the days in status, obviously you'll be able to see 169 days. That's probably off the benchmark right now. The days remaining, well, that's 463 days, and that's obviously beyond the benchmark. What's going on? So what status is that currently in? Right, okay, it's pending CE. Am I waiting for the CE to authorize that site application? For example, the third one down is under review. It's under review. Are we pending a response, a reply for a certain member of staff? So these are different ways that you can use a data grid to identify some very obvious issues. So these are the few examples that I can give you, good examples that you can not just pulling the reports from the data grid, but using the data grid for you to identify problematic applications that you can proactively sort of correcting, if there's anything missing or there's anything incorrect, go in there, correct it, so that every time you come into the dashboard, you have a clean dashboard that you can work with. Before I wrap up the live dashboard, are what I called the reminder widgets. So at the bottom, you'll see three different widgets. One that says ethics sites, and the very last one is the outstanding hot decisions. So these widgets, basically, we wanted to give you an overview or quick, visual indications of a list of applications based on different program type. Program type meaning one for ethics and one for sites that that has 21 days or less remaining against the benchmark figures. So that if you have any operational guidelines, there's only 2-3 weeks remaining, and before we could get that across the finish line, there are item A, B, and C that needs to be done. So we better get in contact or get in touch with whoever, look at the status. Do I need to get in touch with anybody in order to get that status updated, and so that we could get it across the line. So this is like a warning reminder system for you, if you like. So if you're an ethics officer, obviously you'll be looking at the widget on the left hand side. If you're an RGO, the site widget. But for everybody else who is managing the hot decisions, you can certainly see the particular hot being assigned and the staging status. So okay, that's very interesting. So for this particular head of department, won't say it out loud, been 2,000 days. So obviously these are problematic as a department. So yeah, be great if you can either get a revision, submit a new head of department decision or whatever the case might be, so that you can get rid of them, so that you're only working with correct hot decisions, if you like, and get in touch with the relevant hots so that you can proceed to the next stage.